Alright, now I'm going to get to what made my Monday better as a Dolphins fan coming off of a devastating choke, another game choked away due to terrible defense, terrible quarterback play, terrible coaching, terrible just the Dolphins in general being a complete dumpster fire. What could possibly make my Monday better and not be so down on the Dolphins after starting the season 1-5? What could make my Monday better? As sad as it sounds, after what Tua said post-game on Sunday, blaming leadership, questioning leadership, blaming coaches, blaming his teammates for not showing up to these meetings that are only held because the team is bad. And why is the team bad? Take a look in the mirror, bud. You know what made my Monday better? Watching the national media, ESPN, Ryan Clark, Cam Newton, get up, whoever the hell you turn on the TV, watching them absolutely rip Tua into shreds and just burn him alive due to his idiotic comments. And we knew this was coming. The comments were so stupid, I knew the national media was going to be talking about this all day. I mean, you're a leader on the team and you're blaming leadership. How contradicting and hypocritical does that even sound? And then you blame your teammates while talking about stuff that should be kept in-house. Everybody knows this. But Tua apparently doesn't know this, and he doesn't care because he gets to go home to his wife and kids. But guess what? Here's what the national media had to say, and I'm going to talk about it after.
I agree with that. Mike McDaniel leads with the one voice that he has. Like, he's the good parent. He's the weekend parent. You know, when couples split and the kids spend the weekend with one parent and the other parent's there Monday through Friday, you got to take them to school, right? You got to make sure the homework is done. Nobody ever likes that parent as much as the other one, but they depend on that parent, right? He's the weekend parent. And so somebody else has to step up. But this was all fine and good when we were scoring 70 points against Denver and Vance Joseph's defense and when players were making plays. What I don't like, and Cam has said this for weeks, I don't like talkative Tua, right? I was waiting to comment on that. I don't like pillow talkative Tua.
Fair.
Right? It's okay to talk, right? But there should be a Tua Tagovailoa Miami Dolphins interview rule. You can only talk about yourself. And whatever you feel about yourself and the way that you do your job, that's what I want you to talk to people about. When they ask you a question about why this team is struggling, you could say, you know why this team is struggling? I threw 3 interceptions today. Or you know why this team is struggling? We had an opportunity against the New England Patriots late in the game to tie the score or to win, and I threw an interception to Mapu. Or you know why this team is struggling? We're down 7 points to the Buffalo Bills, and I get intercepted by Terrell Bernard. You could say all of those things, and here's what I'm going to do to fix it. But when you go to a press conference or when you go to a post-game interview and you've thrown 3 interceptions, you end the game with an interception to Derwin James, and you talk about everybody else, that's deflecting. That's when you have no answers or solutions.
Yeah.
I agree with that, Mike.
I mean, Ryan Clark has some controversial shit he says on First Take. Yes, he says some dumb stuff sometimes, some stuff you don't agree with. But what is there not to agree with right there? Ever since the Dolphins have started this season, they've been clearly tumbling downhill. Free fall. The Colts game gets smoked by the Colts. Lose to the Patriots the last second, Tua throws a pick. Bills game. Lose in the last second. You lose to the Panthers, choke that game away. Lose to the Chargers, choke that game away. The only game you won is against the worst team, the Jets, the worst team in the league. The team that barely threw 40 passing yards this week. Alright? And ever since then, we've been hearing Tua talk in these post-game press conferences, and it's been nothing but dumb shit said. Like Ryan Clark said, Tua just needs to shut up and talk about himself, and if he's not going to talk about himself, answer the questions vaguely. Because first week, who's going to show? I wonder who's going to show up to those meetings on Tuesday. Then we hear the Cam Newton stuff, where he says it's easy to talk behind a computer or whatever he said. You might as well call him a couch potato at that point, even though Cam Newton's a league MVP. Right? What else did he say? He starts talking about carbohydrates, proteins, and water, like he's a scientist. I don't know what he's talking about. It just sounds stupid. And everything else. just sounds stupid. And now here we go again, blaming other people. Look, Mike McDaniel, surprisingly not, these players look like they're playing hard. All right, the defense look like they're playing hard a little bit, just a little bit, but they still suck. You can't make up for the skill disadvantage. They suck. They look like they're playing hard. Jalen Waddle looks like he's playing hard. All right, this team looks like they're playing to try to win. All right, it's not Mike McDaniel who's losing the locker room. It's Tua who's losing the locker room now. Because now we got Aaron Brewer answering questions today, talking about this shit should stay in house. We have other people answering questions today, talking about how this stuff should stay in house. Everybody's talking about how his comments about players showing up late should stay in house because now it's caused a big frenzy in the national media. Everybody's talking about the Dolphins and the players on the team. It doesn't help them because it doesn't help them, the players who are on a 1-5 team and are already getting torched by the national media. And it just doesn't help the team in general. It just causes more of just a bad vibe around the team because the quarterback, the leader, is questioning leadership. He's not showing leadership by questioning players showing up to late meetings. Yes, you question the players showing up to late meetings in the house. You walk up to whoever, let's say for example, what shared Jonathan Jack Jones, or whatever shit of cornerback we have out there. He's showing up to a late meeting. You go to him and be like, yo, this is real shit. You see we're losing right now, so let's change it up and maybe we start showing up to these meetings on time. Or you go up to Ollie Gordon and say, maybe let's show up to these meetings on time. Those are just examples. You don't call them out in the press conference. That's not showing leadership. And that's why everybody's saying this guy just needs to shut up already, because every time he says something in a press conference, it's the dumbest shit you've ever heard a quarterback say. Tom Brady's not going to say that. Tom Brady's going to set the culture. He's not going to go pussyfoot around culture. He's setting the culture. He's not going to try to talk culture through a microphone like he tried to do this offseason. He's not going to try to talk culture through a post-game press conference after a devastating loss, a devastating team loss, because it's not just Tua's fault for that loss. It was the defense, it was the special teams, it was everything. Coaching, everything. He's not going to go after a devastating team loss and try to set a culture through a microphone. No, he's going to go up to the guy and set the culture himself, set the standard himself, show he's the leader. And Tua still has yet to show he's the leader. Instead, he's throwing people under the bus again after a loss. Again. But it's alright, because guess what? He gets to go home to his wife, his kids who still love him. And I bet he still loves that $50 million check he's getting to play football at a high level, which he is not doing throwing 3 picks against the Chargers, which he is not doing losing to the Colts 33-8, which he's not doing throwing a pick at the end of the game when he had the opportunity to go down and win it against the Patriots. Oh, doesn't that sound similar? Which he is not doing throwing a pick down 7 in Buffalo where you could have beat your biggest rival. Or overthrowing Jalen Waddle against the Panthers on another drive. Yes, he finally got the drive against the Charger, but he didn't help himself now because he goes to the post-game press conference and says, throws people under the bus, throws Mike McDaniel under the bus basically, because that's the only other leader he's calling out. I mean, who other than Tua is a leader? Teron Armstead's out of the team. Calais Campbell doesn't want to come back. Who else besides Tua is expected to be that much of a leader? Who has the veteran status besides Tua to be a leader? Minka, he just came. He's calling out Mike McDaniel, the guy that helped him get a contract extension. I mean, Mike McDaniel doesn't go up and blame Tua, he blames himself. I mean, what are we thinking? You're throwing the guy under the bus that supports you the most. Mike McDaniel never blames the offensive mishaps on Tua. But Tua goes out and blames everything else on him. And blames on the rest of his team. Complete idiotic statement, and I loved that he's getting flamed in the national media for it. Made my Monday, made me happier on a Monday after a devastating Dolphins loss. Thank you, Tua, for being a complete idiot of a leader.